Here is Scott Galloway on Piers Morgan. I'm not sure that I love Scott Galloway's politics, broadly speaking, but I certainly love some of his appearances as of late. And
he's like the most sane person they often will have on, I feel like, Morning Joe. And I know that that is not a really high bar to clear, but he's made good points that we've played on this show, on that show, because there's such a desert of them. And
I think also, you know, he works with Kara Swisher. And when it comes to Elon Musk, she at least has been on a mea culpa tour for quite some time in the way that she sort of like fluffed up Elon Musk back in the day.
Kara Swisher credulous?
And she continues to do that with other big tech figures, which is why, like, this is not just about Elon. This is about billionaires.
Yeah, 100%. Now, Galloway makes a sort of like some type of like a moral argument, and in my estimation, misses some of the point, but I'll take it.
Genius, really, in many other ways. I mean, do you accept, Scott, that he's a genius, or do you feel it's smoke and mirrors with Musk? Because when I watched him talk me through his optimist thing, I just saw the 10-year-old boy who used to write programs doing it on a massive scale and loving that. Whereas I think he's really struggled with the criticism he's had in the political arena.
I don't think you can deny his genius. I'll use Starlink on my flight to London in a couple days, and it's a superior product. I owned a Tesla. But somehow we've decided in America that innovation and money replaces or obviates or excuses depravity. Cutting off aid to HIV-positive mothers, deciding what veterans should get benefits, cutting off SNAP payments, which have shown to have a positive net return when people run out of money for food at the end of the month. I mean, I think one of the wonderful things about being an American, and quite frankly, for me, what it means to be a man and what I try to teach my boys is the whole point of prosperity is such that you can protect people. And I think the two of you are more impressed with Mr. Musk than I am. I think if somebody is making Nazi salutes, if somebody is being sued concurrently by two women for sole custody of their child because that person has not spent any time with that child, when someone is so severely addicted to drugs they can't get their shit together to show up to the White House without looking exceptionally high, I don't think that's the right role model for young men. So what I would ask of all of us is look at what money has done to us. That if someone can land a rocket on metal scissors or create a great AV, he's a genius. He's the wealthiest man in the world. But does that mean we should excuse depravity? Does that mean, unlike Bill Gates, he's not using his billions to help people? He's not planting trees, the shade of which he won't sit under? I think this is an individual who has literally come off the tracks, who is rabidly addicted to drugs, and is using his immense power to get people elected, and that too many of us excuse what is abhorrent behavior. I think his legacy is not going to be an EV or putting rockets into space. I think it's going to be unnecessary death, disease, and disability of the world's most vulnerable. That is not what it means to be an innovator. It's not what it means to be an American. It's not what it means to be a man.
Wow. Kevin.
I mean, I like the fact that he embarrasses these guys on their own turf. But the fact of the matter is that the problem with Musk, it may be all those things, but the real problem with Musk is not that he takes drugs, not that he was in a position to cut these things. It is the structural, or I should say, not that he had the impetus to cut these things. It is the structural reasons why he had the ability to do so. And he's so close, right? Like, he's so close in the sense that we are willing to sort of like deify people with money when they don't deserve it. But then he sort of compares him to Bill Gates and doesn't understand that Bill Gates, I don't care that Bill Gates is giving away his money in the way that Bill Gates wants to. Bill Gates should not have that money. We saw what Bill Gates did with, and we can bless him with the best of intentions, but we saw what Bill Gates did to education in this country. he dumped at least $1 billion, maybe more, into, with the promise of billions and billions more, into a project that brought us high stakes testing, value added measurements of teaching, that by his own commissioned Rand report in 2017 said this was a huge mistake. Meanwhile, for almost a decade and a half, we lost and demoralized teachers. We undermined schools. We undermined education. Really, in many respects, setting up the administration that we have now between Arnie Duncan and George Bush's No Child Left Behind and the race to the top really set up in many respects some of the premises for what we see happening to education now with vouchers. And that was because of Bill Gates was so wealthy that he could do this. And we saw what he did with monetizing the one of the COVID vaccines. It doesn't matter what their intentions are. No single individual should have this power in a democracy, or really in any type of system of government, but particularly in a democracy.
The terms that he grants, which is the whole genius fetish, which is, I think, just infantile, frankly. The accomplishments of NASA over the past half century, we don't attribute those to one single genius. Those were a bunch of geniuses, I guess.
There was a genius.
There's a single one, exactly. But
the marketing guy.
But because we have privatized these things under Barack Obama, now the guy at the top, we look at them like, oh, they must be the brains behind all this, despite all the evidence of our eyes when we could actually see him. And it's clear that he doesn't have the brains, he has the money. And if you have the money, you can play in these sorts of fields, just like Jeff Bezos does. So yeah, this idea that,
and let's be clear, for every one, this is basically roulette, because for every one Elon Musk, there was 20 other or 30 other guys who put bets down, and they just didn't pay off.
His character would be completely irrelevant if he didn't have the money that he has. Like the whole argument about he should not be in a position. We should not have a human being in a position outside of, say, elected office where you can then recall them or replace them. We should not have people in positions where their character can be so impactful on people's lives and is completely privatized and outside of the scope of democratic input.
And the justification for why we are doing that and are accepting it as supposedly upright standing people is that they're so good at innovation and technology and stuff. And that's a lie. It's a lie that all the three of those guys subscribe to.
And the fact that he's Swisher's co-host, and again, overall, it's good that he has a lot of the right arguments, but it's important to take it the next step because Bill Gates is on some sort of PR push right now, I think, consciously to try to contrast him with Elon Musk. And this should not work. We should not embrace this. We should not embrace the siloing of Elon Musk from the impact of his money, even the impact of his money on his psychosis, because there is some sort of level of we can't understand how billionaires live, and they don't understand how we live at a certain point because they are so insulated from all of that. And it creates a level, just by its nature, of alienation from humanity that is detrimental to society.
Nick09, I listened to a podcast and interviewed the engineers at Tesla, podcast called Land of the Giants. One of the engineers said that Elon couldn't even figure out how to get the Tesla door handles to operate like he envisioned them to. And that was this engineer's entire team's responsibility. Yeah, again, even if all of what they're saying and stipulating was true, it's not because he's a drug addict or he's a bad dad or that he doesn't care about other human beings. What is problematic? Because those people walk around us all the time.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's not the only drug addict. He's not the only bad dad. He's not the only person who doesn't give a crap about other human beings. but he is one of a few who have been granted godlike powers because he's been allowed to accrue so much money. That's the difference. That's the part that's missed there. Crunchy, where can I read to learn more about the Gates public education? Well, I would start with the Gates Foundation Rand report. I think it was in 2017. Let me see if Gates Foundation Rand report. Gates Foundation Rand report, education, maybe.
Can I recommend a book on the topic while you look that up?
Sure.
Tim Schwab wrote a book called The Bill Gates Problem. That's a pretty good.
Oh, I think we interviewed him too, actually.
It's a very good book, and yeah, I'm sure that interview is probably worth listening to as well.
I don't understand why I can't find. Oh, maybe news. Well, that's bad. Google's useless. We'll try and find a link for you.
AI is only getting exponentially better, Sam.
God.
So you'll be able to find that report in about 3 months.
Yeah, accidentally searched on their AI function the other day. They're now like making that right next to the search for Google. Keep inputting into our system.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.